Hello everyone and welcome back to the New Hampshire Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana and today we're here with Katy Almstrom from Almstrom Financial Coaching LLC. How's it going?
Great, how are you?
Doing really well. So let's get started. Let's talk about you and the business and where it all started.
All right, so I was actually a teacher and a coach for nearly 15 years. I taught high school Latin and coached numerous sports at 3 different boarding schools and loved it. I love teaching. I love coaching. Had two kids. I'm married and I have 2 kids, so I have 3 kids. And my kids are 3.5 and 1.5. So it was time to come home, spend more time with them. And I had always been really interested in personal finance. My husband and I have spent 7 years figuring out what works for us and how to not fight about money. So I got this crazy idea over a very short period of time to quit my job, start a business, and start working with young couples. So I did, and in late February of this year, I decided that I was going to not return to the school that I was teaching at, which was a hard decision because, like I said, I love it. I love the teaching, but I found a way that I can still be teaching people and literally coaching them with their finances. And this business was born, and it's kind of just gone crazy since then. So
pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, is it just you by yourself, or is your husband with you?
Yep, it's just me by myself. My husband's an engineer,
Okay.
And so I'm working from home. I have a lot of stuff online that I'm working on. I have a blog. I'm developing an online course right now for newlyweds. How to combine finances, how to budget together, how to set goals together, basically how to get your finances together and not fight about money as a married couple. I've been to some bridal expos in the area, which is so much fun because I really get to interact with people about to get married and talk to them about what they're worried about finances, and sort of what their current situation is. I ask a ton of personal questions. It's funny because people come in and they're looking at dresses and DJs, and I'm like, how much debt do you have? Do you own your car? How much do you make? And I really get personal and start to get an idea of sort of where someone is and if a course like this would be appropriate for them. Still doing market research, so asking tons of questions, but I've loved getting to know people, and actually a handful of those brides are going to be on my training tonight, so that's cool.
That's pretty cool, because I speak to a lot of financial people, just kind of the nature of what I do.
Yep.
And a lot of people focus on retirement, which is cool, but, earlier in life, much earlier in life, you get to marriage, typically.
Yep.
And when marriage tends to, well, I wouldn't say marriage tends to crush most relationships, but money tends to crush a lot of marriages, like more than people realize it does. And they don't plan that at all. And I find that like a really good focus point for a business, which is pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah, and I think when so as a financial coach, I'll triage any situation, and if someone wants to deal with a mountain of debt, great. But I love the idea of working with newlyweds because there's so much potential still, and it's an opportunity for 2 people to come together and handle a potentially difficult situation together, which creates a lot more hope and resilience and support for each other. And yeah, retirement, everyone's like, I have to save for retirement, and you absolutely do. But if you have debt, what I teach is get rid of that first, because you won't have retirement if you're still trying to get rid of debt. You can't, your retirement won't pay for what you need if you have a mountain of debt that you still need to get through.
Yeah.
So I teach a very specific process, and it's great if you start it early, because then there's tons of time to do all of the saving that you want to do later on. So
yeah, I like that. Yeah, like you said, you're right. I mean, something a lot of couples don't talk about before they get married. And he's like you said, how much debt do you got? That's a big question. And some people are like, oh, not that much. But, your spending habits don't change after you get married. And the process of getting married can be expensive also.
That's right.
Which can add on a lot of debt.
And a lot of stress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you get what is it? It's like college, if they go to college, that can be a lot. Vehicles, a house. Let's just cram that right onto the very beginning of a relationship, you know?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You come out of a potentially very expensive wedding situation, and that adds debt. And then, some people are buying homes right off the bat, and they don't even know if it's an appropriate choice yet or not for them. There is this immediate, newlyweds are typically in that age group where you're starting to get into your careers and you're making some actual money, and people think, well, I deserve a car, I deserve a house. We're at that stage in our life where people have cars and houses, and it doesn't necessarily make financial sense.
Yeah.
And so between that, saving for retirement, thinking about college for your kids, it is way too much to process if you're not in the right position to do it. And if you don't have an actual process for how to get out of debt if you're in it, or a process for saving for those things, it can just make you feel like you're spinning your wheels and you have no idea sort of where to go from there. So.
Yeah, like I said, it's very true. And like you had said, when you get to that point in your marriage, typically they're younger. And typically, even though they have a career, they're on the low end of it.
Right.
So they have all these really bad factors. They haven't gone through the struggles of money issues.
Right.
So they don't even realize what they're starting to do, and they don't know how to handle money. Because I think that's something that's being seen more and more often is kids, especially coming out of school and stuff, don't know basic finances. They don't know how to do what an adult should do anyway, and it's getting worse.
Right.
So now you add that into it, and they're like, oh, let's get married early, and then you start having kids. Oh, it's just this constant momentum, and then divorces, and
and I've actually seen people who are getting remarried after divorces and trying to convince them to combine their finances, and maybe money was an issue in their previous marriage, and so they're holding their cards even tighter to their chest, and they're even more resistant to combining finances and working as a team. So that's something I really like to work with people on. And one thing that I think is exciting, I've developed a 3-month coaching package for newlyweds that is available for brides and grooms to register for. So that their parents, their relatives, people who've been there, they know how important it is to get started financially on the right foot. So they can register for this package, and the older and wiser can purchase it for them for a wedding gift. And then those newlyweds have an opportunity to sit with me and really get a plan together that works for them, and sort of think about their mindset about money and working together, and they can work through whatever sort of debt they bring together, but just have a plan and tackle it early on. So I think that's been really popular so far, actually.
And cause as we're talking about, I see a lot of kids who they don't place the appropriate value on money. Where it's very popular to be like, oh, money's awful, it's evil, blah blah blah, but you can completely trash your life if you don't understand how it works and all these things. So you're right, when some, I don't want to call them elderly, but more experienced individuals like sit them down and be like, you need to focus on this. If you want the marriage to work, or at least give it the best chance, you need to focus on your money. So I like that. I like the package idea. And you need, there's some pretty cool quotes out there about money. There's one, Zig Ziglar says, money isn't the most important thing, but it's pretty close to oxygen on the gotta have it list. And there's greed for money is evil, right? But having money to support all kinds of, relief efforts and helping people who are in need, that's beneficial. So there's definitely both sides of the coin there. And so what you do with it. And often people, like you said, the way you deal with it is very important, and that kind of gets lost.
Right. Money's a tool, it's a tool, and it's the way it's used that can be dangerous, or it can be very, very good. So
very funny. So let's see, where do we go from there? So you said you typically work out of your house.
Well, I have a home office, so I'm able to be with my kids. They are in those early ages where they still take nice long naps, so I can get work done then, and then they go to bed early, so I can get work done then. I do a lot of Zoom calls with clients, or I work over the phone with clients. Local clients I like to meet either at a Starbucks or some sort of neutral location where we can just sit back and get the work done. And let's see what else. I do a lot of teaching, so online I'll do workshops and webinars where people can just click a link and come in and listen to me talk about how to budget. What else?
So what are you looking to take it in the future? Like, are you looking to get maybe your own office, or are you kind of just keep it very nice and simple?
I think I'm going to keep it simple as far as working in the local market. So I will be teaching 2 different kinds of courses at the Women's Health Resource Center in Lebanon through Dartmouth Hitchcock. One will be sort of a free open class to anyone, and it's going to be how to set up your financial house for the first time. So we'll look at setting the sort of the floor plan of your future with your spouse, or if you're single, just thinking about sort of your own personal roadmap. So what are your goals? What are your plans for your future with your finances? And then sort of the foundation of the house would be, how are you going to do it? How are you going to meet these goals, and how are you going to create this floor plan with what sort of method? And that's your budget. So how do you do this month in and month out? And then the sort of walls of the house, or the structure of the house, would be everything that protects you. So do you have the proper insurance? Do you have the proper estate planning in place? Do you have a will? Do you have all of the things that you need to really protect yourself and your family? And then lastly, how do you decorate your house? So are you spending your money in line with your priorities? Or do you just have piles of stuff that you don't know how it got there? You spent a lot of money on it. You don't touch it. You don't really actually want it. You're buying stuff to impress people that you don't even like. So is the inside of your house, is the design and the style reflective of you and these goals that you've actually set out in the beginning? So that's a course that I'm going to be teaching to anyone who wants to come listen. It'll be free. And then I'm going to do a 3-part series for women, and that's going to be more focusing on that style aspect and simplifying your home, simplifying your budget, simplifying your life, focusing on your dreams, and really just are you looking at the alignment of your money and the things that are taking up your time in your life. So that's sort of how I'll be reaching the local community. I'll also continue to go to bridal expos and work with the newlyweds, but newlyweds and young families in this area will be my focus. And then in the online sort of realm, I'll be doing live workshops, and I'll also be developing the online course that should be ready to go by September for newlyweds, young families, and really anyone. It's all relatable, but the focus will be on working with your spouse to budget and goal set and get on a path that works.
Okay. So I guess kind of a fun question is, which area out of all the ones you kind of just mentioned are they typically messing up the most?
Which one are they typically messing up the most? I think all of us, and myself included, we get excited about whatever we're doing in the moment, and it's really hard to look at the big picture carefully and to stay sort of on track with that big picture dream. So a lot happens, and especially in an early marriage or when you have a young family, you're really just trying to get through every single day. And sometimes it's every single minute. So I think the ability to have a big picture and to know what it is and to really stay sort of engaged with that big picture and stay on a path that's going to get you there is the hardest part for young people. Because like I said, there's so much going on with the early career, the new marriage, new kids, all the shiny things that we want and that we're taught to want, that we think we need to get. I think that's just all very distracting, and a lot of it's great and really wonderful, but the ability to just stay focused on some bigger idea can be really hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard for all of us.
Yeah, and like you're saying, like it's fine to want these things. Just again, where you buy them in the course of your life.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where people would get kind of confused. Like, it's fine to want a nice car, a nice house, and all these things, but maybe not right out the gate.
Yes, yes. The delayed gratification is what we need to work on. I absolutely agree. Yeah, and I think then those things are so much sweeter when you know that you've saved up for them, you know you're in a position where you can afford it. And so when you buy it, there's none of that sort of guilt that's associated. There's none of that buyer's remorse. There's not, you don't feel like you have to use it all the time to get your money's worth. You can just buy it and know, like, this was a purchase that I am ready for and I'm excited about, and you can just 100% enjoy it and not worry about it.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a great point. You should absolutely, and that's part of the big dream, right? So if your big dream in life is to have a nice home and new cars and, a family that can take vacations together, then go for it. But don't get it right now if you're not ready. So I think that's the message.
Pretty good.
Cool.
So people that want to learn a little more and get in touch with you, how do they do it?
Yes, so I have a website. My website is www.almstromcoaching.com, and my last name is my married name. It's a Swedish name, Almstrom, and that's probably the best place to find everything. I'm also just in the local community, so Katy Almstrom, and my name Katy is Katy, and you can call me. Can I give my phone number on here?
Yeah, go on.
603-707-1893.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you have Facebook?
Yep, Facebook. Facebook is Almstrom Financial Coaching, and I'm also on Instagram at Almstrom Coaching.
Cool. Awesome.
So, yep.
Thank you very much for joining me. This has been a lot of fun.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. That'll be it for today. So everyone, be good. That's it for today, everyone. But it doesn't have to end there. Head over to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or iHeartRadio to get more from New Hampshire's top entrepreneurs.